Guys, like, comment, subscribe, share the video, especially if you love college football as much as I do. Georgia versus Clemson. This is probably the game that I can predict right now simply because Georgia has talent for years on that program. My goodness. And Kirby Smart is rolling right now. He's only lost to Alabama twice in the past 3 years. I say that's impressive because, for one, it's Alabama and Nick Saban at the time. And two, that's all he's lost to. Everybody else he's beaten. And you know, with Clemson, they don't like to use the transfer portal. My point is, I don't see either team wanting or needing to add any more talent to their roster. With Clemson's case, I don't think they want to with the transfer portal. I know Dabo has already not really been for it, so I don't imagine he's going to add any more players. Georgia, on the other hand, doesn't need to. So with that being said, let's look at both teams and what happened last year and what I expect this year. Clemson had a great defense last year. They had a top 10 defense this past year. It was an elite defense that forced a lot of turnovers, really good against the run against anybody except Miami for some reason. And they were just hard to deal with for anybody. Offensively, they were very explosive. They ran the football very well. The only problem Clemson had, and it was lowered a lot, were the turnovers. You take away the turnovers, they could play with anybody in the country. That included these guys, Florida State. At home. They should have won that game, by the way. Missed field goals costed them. Georgia, on the other hand, really good offense. Very explosive passing game with Carson Beck. Not turnover prone whatsoever, unlike Cade Klubnik. He's very good at throwing the football. Very good third down passer. Defensively, Georgia's defense really good again. But the run defense kind of slacked a little bit. But then again, I guess it didn't really matter because their defense was really good regardless. My only concern about Georgia is, well, two concerns. One, Carson Beck did play really good this past year. It's hard to duplicate that again or do better than that again. A lot of quarterbacks go through that. Secondly, Georgia's offensive line did win a lot of their games. They kept Carson Beck protected most of the year, but then they played Alabama. And this is part of the reason why they lost that game outside of the referees helping with Bama's Isaiah Bond catch. You know what I'm talking about. Part of why they lost that game was the line of scrimmage. They lost the line of scrimmage most of that game. Georgia's offensive line could not block Alabama up front. And Alabama didn't really have much depth this past year on defense and still played really good football. I say that's a problem because Alabama, although their defense was really good this past year, it wasn't an elite defense. It was not one of the better defenses in the country. Clemson, on the other hand, did have that. Georgia had a problem running the football. You know who else has a really good run defense every year? Clemson. That's right. Clemson's run defense will be ready for that game. I also believe Clemson's running game, which was really good for the last several years. I know they're losing Shipley, but they still have Mappa, and you know Dabo Swinney and Clemson. It's like running back factory over there. It doesn't matter who they have at running back. They're going to have more guys there. Before Mappa, Shipley. Before him, Etienne. Before him, Wayne Gallman. You know, it just keeps repeating itself over and over. So they're going to have more guys there to play running back for Clemson, besides Mappa. And look, Georgia's run defense was a little suspect, especially against Alabama. Now, overall, not really. Georgia's run defense held Alabama in check. But Alabama ran the football pretty good because of Milroe. And early on, they were able to push Georgia's defensive line around up front for most of the first half, not the second half. Before I make anybody mad. I don't really care. It's my channel. I can say whatever I want. The difference in this game will be the turnovers. And unfortunately, I really wanted to pick Clemson. First off, I disagree with the point spread. I don't see Georgia blowing out Clemson or pushing them around or anything like that. This is going to be a tough physical game. I believe the only reason Georgia wins this game will be the ability to take care of the football. Turnovers weren't really a problem for Georgia this past year. Clemson, it was a problem. Now, I agree. I know Clemson didn't. They got better at not taking care of the football in the second half, most notably after that call Dabo Swinney got from a fan, but it was still a problem. So, with that being said, do I think Clemson fixes that problem? No. Do I think they improve that and make it better? Yeah, I do believe so. I believe Clemson's pass protection will hurt them, and I believe Cade Klubnik's ability to take care of the football for 4 quarters will cost them this game. I do think Clemson's defense will play lights out. It'll make Georgia one-dimensional and being able to have them to throw the football. I don't think they're running all over Clemson's defense. Nobody else did except Miami, obviously, for whatever reason. And I believe Georgia's offensive line is going to have a hard time against Clemson's pass rush. Again, Georgia concerned me by playing only really one good defense all year. They did play FSU, but as you know, Florida State didn't have all their players. Not to say they wouldn't have beat Florida State, but obvious reasons, blocking Jared Verse, Braden Fisk, all those guys would have been tough for anybody, and I believe Georgia would have struggled too. But I have to go with Georgia here. Give me 24-17. Again, low-scoring defensive battle. I don't think Georgia pulls away. I don't think Clemson's defense is going to allow that. But Clemson's inability to take care of the football and not throw the game will hurt them in this game. Now, can Clemson win this game? Definitely. Their run game is really good. They're an explosive team offensively, regardless of the turnovers. And Clemson's defense is really, really good. And that kicking game hurt them against Florida State. So you imagine it's a possibility in this game, too. Now, if they beat Georgia, it'll be because they take care of the football. Because defensively, I think they got a great defense. But I think they lose 24-17 Dogs.